One.
Yeah. I love the echo. That's honestly when we do the show here. The echo. It sounds good.
No, it's a big room. It does echo. I don't like it though, because I think it fucks with like we sound good when we're in here, but like you can hear the echo, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
I'd rather be able to hear us in general.
Okay, no, that is fair. That is fair.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Joey's gonna lead the way to initiate this whole thing because this was again Joey's idea.
This was my idea.
Which is it's a good idea, but if you have the idea, you have to initiate the plan. There has to be a plan of action, and you need to initiate it.
Now,
Nick's info off the top.
listen, I want to give. I know I said on the post today that we weren't going to do any sports. However, I do want to give you credit where credit is due, because you said going into Game 5 that it was going to be 2-2, and you called the first 4 games exactly how they went.
I also called Game 5 as well.
Yes, and I was going to ask that because I didn't know what you had for Game 5. So now
I have Boston winning the next 2.
and that's that's fair, but I'm confident that Golden State's gonna finish it out. But regardless of the fact, like I said, I don't give you enough credit usually anywhere, so I wanted to give you credit for it. So
Thanks, sir.
So the reason why I kind of wanted to do this today is one, the day specifically. Now, when I first looked into this, I saw maybe it was just a Canadian holiday. Then I saw that it wasn't, and like a lot of like places were incorporating it here, like in the States. So we're just gonna say that it is a national holiday. Today is Men's Mental Health Awareness Day. And last month was Mental Health Awareness Month, which I didn't know that until I believe I was talking to my mom or somebody's fucking mom. And they told me that. So, it's nice. When I saw that they had a day specifically set aside for men's mental health, I was like, that's what we talk about here on the show. It's mental health in general, but every time when I have a guest on, I always say we talk about mental health here, but specifically, men's mental health and how it's not talked about enough in society.
We need to have some females on the show. It's been too long.
Oh yeah.
To not have had.
No, that is a
on the
fact.
show.
No, that is a fact, and well, we could talk about that after, because now that you say that, I have a couple of artist friends that are females that I think would come on here and give good content too. So either way, like I said, once I saw that they had a day set to the side for men's mental health, it landed on a Tuesday. I was like, bro, this has got to be not a sign, but we definitely have to do something in regards to mental health on this day. So I asked Swizz if because we always come on here and tell people we just rank how we're feeling. And there's a lot of background to why we feel the way we do every day. There's a lot of background to, the not even how you're feeling, but how you go about your day. You know what I mean? So none of the fans know that. There's a lot of people in our personal lives that probably don't know some of the things that we might say here today. Just being that we've never told them, because it's something that we've kept to ourselves or whatever the case may be. So I want to start off by saying that your mental health is not something that you can really gauge accurately. And I say that only because so much happens from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed that there's no possible way you could tell yourself in the morning that I'm feeling 10 out of 10, and throughout the entire day you stayed at a 10 out of 10. If that happens, you might have just had the best day of your fucking life. You know what I mean? At some point, some dickhead in traffic's gonna cut you off. Your boss is gonna say something to you. Your fucking girl's gonna bitch at you the wrong way. Your mom's gonna call you and ask you for help for some stupid ass shit that you got no idea how you're gonna help, but you're the asshole if you don't show up. So, at some point throughout your day, your mental health is affected. So I love what Swizz has brought to, because like you're really the first person that I've heard like use it in that sense. But like Busy, he took what you said, made his own like little post about it. But like, you know, having a bad moment does not mean having a bad day. And if you can get past the bad moment and get back to having a good day, that will give you a better gauge of your mental health and how you go, you know, how you're feeling in the day. But I just wanted to start off by saying that because it's going to be easy enough for somebody to chime in and say, oh, I'm happy all the time. Or, you know, it's going to be easy enough for anybody to sit here and say that, you know, well, you shouldn't feel that way. Or everybody's different. Everybody's different. How you go about your day is how you go about your day. But if you can tell yourself that it was a bad moment, let's keep it pushing. That's just one step further to, you know, progressing your mental health and getting through the day and having a better day. So that's what I wanted to start off with. I've been rambling for 5 minutes. Is there anything that you'd like to say, my friend?
Well, I want to put a disclaimer to the audience, the live audience, and anyone who watches the video when it's uploaded. Be prepared because I've already warned Joey. I'm going to say a lot of things during this episode, very blunt, very personal, because if anybody knows me, they know I'm not one to like sugarfoot around or keep secrets about myself. The only thing that I do keep private, which that's why we're having this episode personally for me, is the way my mental works. I might tell Joey I'm going through it, but 9 times out of 10, I don't really tell Joey what's going on. That's a personal problem that I have, and that's why I think today's a good day where we can discuss it, because I feel like if I can muster up the courage and say things today that I might not want to say, or that might be hard for me to talk about, maybe somebody else can, because I feel like one of the biggest things with mental health is getting things off your chest. There's a lot of things that I've had to bury that I feel like have gotten me to the mental point I'm at today, and we're going to get into some of those things. So, I'm just going to take it back from the beginning, because if we're not talking sports, we got about 60 minutes right now. So I'm going to take it from the top.
Let's go.
And I know personally that I'm a good person. I know that to be a fact.
Facts.
Okay? I know that. 90% of people who know me know that as well. So if I say something that gets misconstrued or, you know, sounds bad, it's not coming off that way. Like, that's not the meaning of what I'm saying.
Right.
So, self-evaluating myself all day today to get prepared for this episode, I feel like I learned a little bit about myself. And what I mean by that is, I think that the reason that I'm involved in sports and love sports the way I do is because I think I was always trying to get closer with my father, if I'm being honest. Now, if you know me, you know that I haven't seen my father or spoke to him in 4 or 5 years now. My parents were married throughout my whole childhood. Most of the bad stuff I didn't know at the time, so to me it was a happy marriage, everything was great. I think it was the summer before my first semester at Buff State is when my father, again, I'm going to say everything, I really don't care.
Yeah, because be open, bro.
You know, my father was cheating on my mom with some black prostitute. I don't know like how he met her or what the deal was. And I think and I don't really know this 100%, but I'm pretty sure he had to do a night in jail because he hit her. Then we found the car. There was like used condoms and sex toys in the car, in the Chrysler.
Mm-hmm.
So it was bad shit. I mean, because it's just kind of like a shock. You know, it's the shock factor of it.
Well, you know, like you said, you didn't know. Like, you thought thought she was good.
Yeah, so, you know, that happens, and I got over that.
Mm-hmm.
That I wasn't as mad about, because at this point in my life, I knew that the marriage wasn't solid. I'm just saying when I was a kid growing up, it seemed solid.
Yeah, okay.
But at this point, I already knew that they're both shot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then my father continued to manipulate me and try to get me to do favors for him, give him money, and make up all these lies. And at one point, he called me. He said, "Can you take me to Kenmore? I have no place to go. I'm going to stay at my friend's house." I said, "Okay, sure." So I drive. He said it'd be 10 minutes. It was like a 30-minute drive. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was like 20, 25
in Kenmore, though?
I think it was in like Tonawanda, like deep Tonawanda.
It wasn't that far off.
So I take him there, and as soon as I get there, he wants to spring me with, if I don't give him $100 or something, or $50, whatever the number was, he's not gonna let me stay here. I'll have to sleep on the street. So trying to manipulate me to give him the money.
Right.
You know, doesn't tell me this until we get to the house.
Get there, right.
So that was the last time that I saw my father, because I said, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done. I want no part of it. I'm not gonna keep doing this shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because again, and I don't like to, so whatever. So, and that was, like I said, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, this was probably when I was 20. Because I haven't even seen my father since I turned 21 and able to drink legally. So, but I looked up to my father. I mean, honestly, like he was an athlete. You know my dad's jacked.
Dude, if there was anybody that was literally shredded diesel, like it was this guy's dad, and it was a mixture of salt and roofing in the summer.
Yeah,
that was the formula to get cut. Roof in the summer, load up everything was.
And I'm soft as silk. My brother did the roofing with him. That's no problem. One, I'm afraid of heights. Off the top,
Can't do it.
Off the tizzy.
Can't do it.
I'm
the slope,
no
30
chance.
feet in the air.
Can't do it. I can't climb. No, I can't even climb the ladder because at the 4th rung, I'm looking down. I'm saying somebody help me off.
You need help off the ladder, bro?
Yeah, I'm too nervous.
Ugh.
They put me on. You know the Abe Lincoln statue at the museum?
Yeah.
That we sit in a chair. Yeah, they put me on that. I was scared shitless, and it was maybe like 4 feet off the ground. I said, somebody's gotta help me down. I'm very, very terrified of heights.
Okay.
So
Pray for him with his fear of heights.
Very, 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 very scared of heights.
Keep going, go ahead.
So that's how I got into sports. And if you know me now, we have a sports podcast. I've been coaching baseball since I was 16 years old. When I aged out of playing house, I coached 2 healthy Buffalo teams for basketball.
Facts.
Okay, you think you were on one of them?
That is a fact.
Okay. I've played Little League football, semi-professional football, co-ed football, men's flag football, 8-on-8. We had our own floor hockey neighborhood team that I ran from all the kids in our neighborhood.
Facts.
For like years and years and years. That's how we became friends. If anybody doesn't know, because I was going to get to this too, I might as well jump there.
He stopped, but there was 9 sources
And I
of
golf.
sports.
And I golf.
He's a golfer. He's a golfer.
So all of this stuff was because my father. I always wanted to become close to my father because my dad, you used to watch the Sabres game. That's how it started. That's how the hockey thing started. My dad was huge watching the Sabres game. So I watched the Sabres game with him. He'll tell you I knew every single stat, point, assist, goals for every single player on the team. The years when it was Pominville, Vanek, Roy.
To the point where we had a fantasy hockey league on paper that you just like ESPN the fucking stats every day.
Absolutely.
And just kept totals and like we'd walk in. So a select few had just access to walk in your house, and I was one of them. So anytime I'd walk in, if you weren't already sitting at the computer when we had the hockey league going, once you saw that I was there, you're on the computer, like open up the notebook, and there's just stats, and he's not looking at them as he's listing them off to me. He's like, Pominville's got 86 points. Vanek's got 27 in the last 6 games. There's like just like shit you would never even think like made any fucking sense, and he's got it referenced, but again, you're not referencing it. You're looking at me, not looking down at all. It's because it's memorized. He sat there for 6 hours the night before. No school. He was at home getting stats ready.
So it started with the hockey, and then my Uncle Ray got me into the football.
Right.
Me and my dad would watch the games, but I was never heavy into football until Uncle Ray started taking me to the home games. And because my Uncle Ray's my godfather, I've always tried to be close with him. So I think he's the reason why I really got into the Bills as much as I did.
Yeah.
Being
Well,
truthful.
and you're there too, like. You know,
Yeah, and obviously the experience is I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously some days I wouldn't feel like going, waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning to sit in the freezing cold weather for 8 hours of my day on my day off from school. But
he said, but we digress.
yeah, so, but regardless. But then how I fell in love with baseball was my parents were broke, he'll tell you. We had never had food in the house. We ate because Nani cooked for us. That's the truth. My grandparents raised me, and I'm not letting anybody else tell me differently, no matter who in my family's brainwashed. Again, I'm saying it, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people brainwashed that don't understand what really happened when we were kids.
Your grandma half raised me.
Yeah. My
tell me she didn't raise you.
My grandparents made sure that I was fed no matter what. No matter how much money or food they had, they made sure I was fed. No matter where I came from. But he'll tell you, if it was Wednesday night and she made that one yell from the house to the parking lot that the pasta was ready, I ran.
He's running.
Somebody's getting the equipment because I have to go.
He's gotta go.
I'm running down Tacoma because if I'm not there, I'm out.
The hockey sesh starts at 5. He goes, Nani said dinner's gonna be done at 6. We got an hour. Somebody set a timer. And the timer was set.
But that woman was loud. I mean,
if you heard her, if you heard her before the timer went off, you were going. But that timer was set and you were.
Yeah, because she was one to be at 5:55 when she's ready to strain the noodles to call me.
Yeah.
Because by the time I strain them, I need you in the table because you have to put the salad on. There's bread. You need to butter the bread.
It's all gonna be
Say
hot.
grace. Gotta have it all ready.
Thanks.
So, all right, down to the nitty gritty. So we got that.
Mm-hmm.
So when my father and my mother split up, that still to this day hurt me because I've always been closer with my father than my mother from when I became a teenager on. When I was a baby and like a little kid, I was really close to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since I was probably 11, 12 years old, it was always me and my dad. We were very, very tight. And he'll tell you, me and my dad were more like friends than father-son, meaning my dad used to buy us liquor when we were underage for all my parties. I threw parties all the time. Anyone will tell you they were a riot.
Absolutely.
My dad would take me to girls' houses. He would pick me up in the middle of nowhere when I was stranded, in the middle of the night doing shit I wasn't supposed to be doing. You know.
Your dad was always good for that. Like he was good for showing up if we were stranded.
Absolutely.
If you were out somewhere where you, like you said, weren't supposed to be. You called your dad. If he was granted, if he was up, which he usually always fucking was anyways.
Yeah, there was never a time he wasn't up unless it was when he wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, that is a fact. But yeah, no, he always came through on that in that aspect. So
yeah,
shout out Johnny F for that.
Yeah, Johnny F. You know, so not talking to him hurts me every day. But I will say this, and this is the thing that alarms me in terms of my mental health. It hurts me, but I don't feel like it affects me as much as it should. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, I feel like, and I think I've only told maybe Jaylene this, and maybe one other person, and I couldn't even tell you who, but I know I told Jaylene this because I was with her. Me and Jaylene have been through a lot. The day that my grandfather told me that my father was a crackhead, I don't think I've ever recovered from that day. That day hurt me. I feel like I've never been the same since that day. I feel like that broke me and like something just like snapped in my head. Like a wire just went loose. I don't understand what happened that day, but, and again, it's not like it's an event. It's not like a traumatic event happened. Mm-hmm. There wasn't something physical. But when he told me that, I think I was so heartbroken. I don't feel like I've ever been able to be emotionally the same with anybody. My friends, my family, girlfriends. I don't feel like I've ever been able to properly love because I felt like everything I knew was a lie. I felt like my heart was broken.
Yeah.
The guy who I've been looking up to my whole life, when he lived in that halfway house, the one on, Military, the 7-Eleven right there,
Yeah.
Military and Hurdle.
Yeah.
That big green house. My dad was living in there. I thought it was because him and my mom were going through something, and my grandparents never liked my dad, so they kicked him out. The man was living there because he just got out of jail or rehab or something, and they hid that from us, and I never knew it at the time until I found out later on. So he's living in this halfway house because he was in jail or in rehab, and my grandparents said, you can't come back and live here after he got out. So I didn't see my father for I don't know how long, a month or two, not knowing what the hell's going on, and now I'm visiting him at this fiend house because it was him and other roommates that looked like straight crackheads too.
Well, yeah.
So I did not like going there, but obviously I wanted to see my dad, so we went a couple times. But
when was this?
Like, how old was I when this
Yeah.
happened?
Cause I don't remember this at all. So was it before?
Honestly, I don't know how old I was. I was super young because I didn't think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was 12, 13, or 14, I would have been like, where's Johnny?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was probably 8, 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
My brother might know. Like, we could ask my brother. He might know maybe a little bit more. But then again, he's younger than me, so he probably doesn't remember this. He remembers the halfway house. That he remembers.
Right.
But I don't know if he remembers how long he was gone or
When it
circumstances and stuff like that. But what's good is he does remember us going to that house to visit him. So that hurt me, and me and Jaylene, I bring her up because we're on good terms, and I love that woman. So I can tell some of these conversations. But I would talk to Jaylene, and I would tell her, I don't know if I'm in love with you. Even when I, like we were together and everything was great, because I don't know what that feeling is. I don't know why that happened and that affected that part of me emotionally, and I've never been the same. And I even when I was with Imani, I loved her, I thought so, but I don't think I was actually in love because I don't know if I can feel like that again. And I'm not saying I can't. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because Jaylene treated me good. She was loyal. Everything was great. But I never, even from the beginning, never felt like I was in love, because I don't know what that feeling's like. Because of when that snapped, and I was just so devastated when Poppy told me that. I remember it exactly. You know The Office. He tells me to come in the office, where he's sitting in his chair, close the door, I'm standing in there. He told me this. He said, Anthony, it's about time. I was 18 when he told me this. Or I was 17 or 18. And he's like, it's time that I told you this. And he said, I think maybe because me and him got into it, me and my father, or something. I don't know why he decided to tell me this day. I can't remember that. And he told me, like, your father is a drug addict. And I said, what are you talking about? Now, mind you, you can attest to this. I was in denial for a long time, because a lot of my friends, including you, have said shit like, why is your dad doing all this weird shit?
Yeah.
My dad had a lot of weird tendencies that led to that direction, but I never wanted to believe it. I made up lies.
You never, it's your pops. So
Yeah.
why would you ever want to believe it? Yeah.
So I always shut that shit down, because I'm like, I don't want to hear that, because I really don't want it to be true. So when Poppy told me that, and he went into it, he's like, your father has been a drug addict your whole life, whatever, he's been in and out of rehab before, he's been in jail, whatever, all these things. What the craziest thing about it is, the way I felt in that moment, I told Poppy right after, I said, Poppy, I want you to know that I'm never going to feel the same after you told me this information. I said, you just broke me. I said, I wish you would have never told me this. And me and Poppy have talked about this afterwards, and he feels like shit, because he understands now he shouldn't have told me that.
Right.
It's not about being truthful, it's about how that affected me.
Right.
Him telling me that hurt me so much. I don't know if I'll ever recover from that in terms of life. And that's why when I put damaged, not broken, I am very severely damaged. And I'm just going to be on the show and just say it, because I don't really care anymore. I'm really like, it is what it is. People could like me, don't like me. I've been hurt so many times in my life. I don't care anymore. I'm just done. I'm fed up. It is what it is. Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Oh, you're good.
But it is what it is, and you know, and my brother sees my father now, and everyone always asks me, why don't you just go see him? Why don't you talk to him? I feel like because I have such a high purpose, I've told you how I feel about myself and what I'm supposed to be in life, that I'm so hurt from that whole situation where I don't feel like I want to see him until I know I've achieved what I'm supposed to achieve in life. When I'm coaching the Yankees, I'll probably reach out. So if that means 20, 30 years, and personally knowing my father, I don't think he's going to be alive for 20, 30 years because my father, I still believe to this day, is a crackhead and is a drug addict. No matter what delusional bullshit he feeds my brother, I love my brother to death. But I don't believe my father. I don't trust him because he's been letting me down my whole life. And hopefully one day things can be different. But as of right now, I'm speaking as Anthony Fertushnik. Right now, this is the way I feel. This is what has happened to me. And it makes me sick that I'm sitting here in my life as 24 years old, not trying to rush anything in life, but truly not knowing if I'll ever be able to get married and have kids because I don't know. What I did to Jaylene, I told myself I would never do again. I'm not going to stay with someone because logically, I should be with them. I want to be with them because of all these other good things. But if I'm not in love with you, I'm not going to be with you.
Right.
And if I don't know that I'm in love with you, why would I put you in that situation, Joe? That's one of the biggest things that I really, really wish was differently about how me and Jaylene ended, because I love her as a person. I would do anything for that woman. She knows that. Everybody knows that.
Right.
When we broke up, you'll attest to this. I told all the friends, treat her like family. Do not bash her. None of that.
Right. Yeah.
But I stayed with her for 6 years almost, and for probably, I don't know how many years, maybe the last two to 3 years, I think I knew I wasn't in love with her. I wanted it to work because I wanted it to work so bad. Because I wanted to have a family. I wanted it, her family loved me. I'm the godfather to her niece. Everything was great. I love everything about her and the family. But I cannot ignore my feelings. And I ignored them for so long, and I think it really did damage to me. But I don't want to do that to any other woman because that's not right.
Right. And
it's hard to be honest with someone. What woman wants to hear that you're not in love with them? It took me so long to tell Jaylene that because I care so much about her, and you saw how many phone calls we had afterwards, trying to get through it, trying to be there for her, because she can't wrap her mind around, we've been together for 6 years, and I'm telling her this out of nowhere. It's heartbreaking, and I don't want to put nobody through that, so, if it happens, it happens. I'm going to let it happen naturally, but it's just difficult for me to put my head in that type of mind space right now. And then all I can do in terms of love and life is just keep trying to do what I've always done and just try to be a good person, because that's all I ever tell myself. I'm supposed to be here. I have this higher purpose. I know that. I've known that since I was 14. I've told you I spoke with God. I truly believe when I was 14 years old, I spoke with God. I've told some people this. I've told you. I've told a couple of people. But if you don't know this, I don't know if it was a daydream, if it was unconsciousness behavior or something. I believe when I was 14, I spoke with God, and God told me that I'm going to be the greatest person I ever lived. It's a bold statement. It seems totally out of this world, but for some reason I believe it, and that's why I'm so hard on myself, because I feel like I have this higher purpose. That's what keeps me here every single day, is taking care of my family, taking care of my friends, because as much as you guys think me and Joey are best friends, and this is some of the stuff I was telling you I have to tell you, and he might not even have ever heard this. Ever since I met Joey, I've thought of him as a son to me. Now, I don't like to say that because we're only 2 years apart, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to son him. That's not the case. I've always tried to look out for him. Throughout most of the mistakes I've made sure Joey was not a part of. I've done a lot of bad shit. But the stuff that I knew Joey shouldn't be around, he was not around. And that's why for a long time, we know I love your mother, but for a long time, I had so much resentment for your mom because I could not wrap my head around the fact that she would think that I was A, B, or C, when all I've ever wanted for you was to be a good role model and make sure you were successful in whatever you did. So every time that there was these arguments and like I hear like, oh, she doesn't want me to, I'm just like, I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I could not wrap my head around it because like, I've had plenty of friends throughout my life, but there's never been one person in my entire life that I've worried about and wanted more for than you. When I first met you, you were weird. You had a big forehead box, like you had a big rectangular forehead, this chubby kid. And I know your sister was shot. Your stepsister was shot.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring you in. I said, come play hockey. You know, I wanted to bring you in. I just wanted you to be able to live a regular life, have cool friends, hang out, enjoy yourself. And that's all it was. And then as the years go on and as we get older, because this was a young age, I'm only in 6th grade at that point. All I can do is be a cool kid. I don't have no life knowledge. But as life went on and I made mistakes, I tried to make sure you didn't make those same mistakes.
Right.
And I'm rambling. And I'm gonna stop now. But that's the truth, Joe. I care about you. I want you to be successful. You are one of my best friends. You know that. Everybody knows that. But I have, if anyone really knows, I have 4 best friends. Louis, you, Nazi, Marcus. I have a few really good friends.
Yeah, but they're
But I have 4 best friends.
Yeah.
And the only person who no, I won't say that. The other 3 situations are similar, but very different, if that makes sense. Like Marcus, how we've become friends, that it's similar, but it's not, because we were already in high school at this point.
Right.
You know, when I met those 3 guys, I was in high school. I was a young adult. When we became friends, we were kids. We were children.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why sometimes I feel guilty. I really, truly feel guilty when I'm going through something so bad mentally that I can't be there for you. And that's why, this is a true story. Joey called me twice yesterday. The first time I dubbed it. I was with my friend, but I dubbed it because I was just going through some shit. I was like, I can't, you know, and he'll tell you, I don't answer nobody's calls. I don't answer text calls, I just don't.
Hardest person to get a hold of sometimes, but that's alright.
But then he texted me and he said, I'm falling off the cliff. So I called him right back. But it shouldn't have to get to that, as I wish that I was more mentally stable, that I can be what I used to be. Joey will tell you, he used to live in my house, eat in my house, sleep in my house. And if he wasn't at my house, we were at his house.
Yeah.
Every single day. There was no disconnect in communication. What are you doing today? Okay, cool. After you're done with that, let's link up.
Every day.
It's every single day. I'm not, this is no exaggeration. What I'm telling you is the truth. It's gospel.
Gospel.
Every single day. That's how it went. And as adults, that's no longer possible, obviously.
Right.
But this year, me and Joey have gotten closer. Not that we were ever not close, obviously, but we've gotten closer in regards to, I was locked away, not locked away, that's a bad word.
No,
I was living my own life.
Busy, bro. We were busy, and that's what it really came down to. But I know exactly what you're gonna say. That over this last year, we've gotten closer than we've been since like high school, like since even maybe before high school, like.
Which because obviously I'm not with Jaylene anymore.
Yeah.
And with Jaylene, it comes bills. We live together. You know, we have. You know, our families are joint, so we have all of these events we have to go to. We had the cats, so you know, we had to make sure we had to take care of them.
And I had all of the same shit on my end.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
So and that's what I'm saying is the timing. And me and Joey have always said this. It's very coincidental. We've said a few things in our lives that have literally timed up like that.
Yeah.
You and Chloe, you know, get out of it. Me and Jaylene get out of it. So you and me can now come together and something special can happen like this show.
Right.
Because this show probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for those 2 things lining up. The reason I say that is because we've been talking about this show for years. You had Gas Talk with Stack and Kells years ago. You know what I'm saying? Everything happens for a reason, but I just think that you and me, and we've taken a lot of slack, and you know, it wasn't always easy, this year. I'm not going to get into that with that person and us and everything, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of things you do be pissing me off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you do and say that I don't agree with.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I knew if it was something detrimental to you, I would say something and I would be very serious about it saying it. And we're not kids anymore. We're not teenagers. We're young men.
Bro, we're grown ass men. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. We got bills, we got 40-hour work weeks, we got cars, we got, we both have been in and out of apartments. Motherfucker, we grown ass men. And that's what
the reason I don't consider myself a grown man is because I do not believe that I'm ready to raise a child. And to me, if you're a grown man, you're ready to raise a child.
Oh, see, you know me. I'm ready.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So personally, because if I can't take care of my damn self, if I can't even have 1 week straight of being able to continually do the things I'm supposed to do, how can I raise a child? Because if you have a child in your life, and we have a few friends who have children, and they do an excellent job, and I admire them.
Yeah.
But there's no days off. Like today, right now, I can shut down and have my mental day and go through shit because it's just me who I'm looking after.
Yeah.
If I have a child, there's no days off for that.
There's
no hide away, sit in my room, eat junk food and be miserable because there's somebody else that I have to be responsible for. You see what I'm saying? So I know I can't do that right now, and I would love to. You know how much I love kids. Everybody who knows me knows I'm good with kids. I've worked camps and coached young kids all ages. I love it. I love helping the next generation. I truly, truly love it. It's my passion. But at the end of the day, I have to be honest with myself. As much as I would love to have kids, and every time I see my godson, and I hold my godson, I said, I can't wait to help raise him, teach him sports, play with him. But I only see him once or twice a month. I don't have that responsibility that my sister has, taking care of him every single day.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be there for the fun stuff and the easy stuff, because that's easy. But I knew if it was me having to deal with it every single day, and then trying to continue my dreams of coaching and playing sports while I'm still young enough and doing all these things, I couldn't do that.
Right.
It's super difficult. And that's why just to bring up Dom, I admire Dom. Dom still follows his dreams. He's still making music. He's still hanging out with his friends, enjoying his own life.
He's going on trips, like he just went to Florida not too long ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and he's still a great father, and you know how much he cares about his daughter, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I truly admire him. But
hell yeah,
I want you to go into it because I almost cried twice, and I didn't think I was ever going to get to that point.
That's alright. Talk there for 2 seconds. I just have to get something out of the kitchen.
Okay, so Joey times his P's for right before the show, because this is 2 weeks in a row now we're here, and as soon as we're about to record, he says, I got to take a leave. So the timing, he must be doing it on purpose at this point. It has to be intentional.
No, it's not. It's
so I'm gonna
not.
let
You want
know.
one of these?
No, I can't eat. Okay. No, I know that.
It's not that it's intentional. It's just I know that if I don't sit there and force myself to piss before the show, that I'm gonna have to get up halfway through the show and take a leave. Let me finish eating this and then I'll ramble. I just didn't want to die sitting here on camera in front of everybody.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. I didn't think we were gonna get like that either, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Because
I know I'm getting like that. I know I am.
That's good.
Because I'm a pussy. But that's just me.
Yeah, also I want to say shout out to everybody who has been commenting. I have been reading them. I just a lot of times when we do the show, we get so choppy with the comments. I think that next season we're going to be a little bit more organized in that aspect. I just don't want to lose my train of thought because I'm truly coming from the heart today. And you could see in my demeanor, I'm kind of just I'm just drained. It's all coming out of me. Also, because AJ commented, I do have to say this.
I was gonna ask at the end of the show how the golf crowd go.
AJ, he hit 2 into the forest. and then only claim one.
That's your mulligan. That's your mulligan though.
See, they don't count mulligans.
Oh,
It was me, AJ, Mackie, and Johnny, and
they don't count mulligans.
well, I'll tell you this, and AJ will speak to this. Disclaimer beforehand, I had a great time. Very wise men, and we had some really, really good conversations that I can fill you in on after. I had a great time. We went out to lunch after, absolutely fantastic. But that being said, I was sharing a car with Mackie. There was a few times Mackie would be like 20 feet away from the hole, and he would pick it up and be like, "I'll just take 6."
Like a gimme shot.
I was like, Mackie, I'm like, "What you mean take 6? I said, "If you pick up your ball, I'm giving you 8.
Yeah,
You default in the hole." And he was like, it was just.
Nah, bro, I saw something like that today. It was what did he call it?
I had a terrible
freebie
day
or some
also.
shit.
It was one of the most difficult courses I played.
Where'd you go?
We went to Diamond Hawk, and we did 9 holes, and my best hole was a bogey, and most of the rest of them I defaulted. Like it was.
That's not good for this guy.
No.
He's a halfway decent golfer.
And it was my first time doing a par 4 course this summer,
Par 4?
like an actual course.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a par 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just par 4s,
Okay,
5s, and 3s.
I know what you mean now.
And it was very difficult to drive. Like the fairways were so thin. If you sliced a little bit either way, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Oh,
done.
then I'm.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Then we're
Like,
not
you
going.
would have been miserable
We're
driving
not going,
because
yeah.
there's no if we do like Hyde Park, there's so much space.
Yeah.
You can get away with slicing.
Slicing.
You're just trying to hit for distance.
Can't
Now I'm
slice.
trying to hit as straight as a line because if not, I'm
You're
dropping on whoever else is even in play.
Yeah.
You don't know how many holes. 3 out of the 4 weren't even in play. That's how tight it was.
That. Yeah, I'm glad you told me that because I wanted to plan like a golfing thing, and I was thinking about like,
Yeah.
like we've never really been to a nice course yet. We're not fun.
Of course.
There.
Yeah, AJ, of course you shot a lot better when I'm not there to see it, all right? Let me see it because...
If he's not there, does it really count?
No, that is true, and he also said that there was people rushing us.
See now.
And AJ, I kept trying to tell you, Johnny and Mackie, they were going way too slow, and that's what it was. Because, and don't get me wrong, I hate that. I hate that etiquette that you have people rushing behind you and people get nasty. And how many times have we been on a course and people have been shit
fucking bitching at us,
complaining?
like
So I'm with you, but generally, golfing as long as I have, Mackie and Johnny were going slow, and it said on our cart. That's what's cool about them. They tell you your pace, bro. We were 20 minutes behind pace. They kept warning us that people were gonna come skip us and all this shit. It was weird. It was weird. But Joe, I want you to get into it because it's about that time. Cause we're at. Let me see. Yeah, we're at 45. So I want you to get the last half.
So, all right. So there's been a lot of things in my life that I could attest my poor mental health to, whether it be the lack of my father being in my life, whether it be me having a scumbag step family, being my stepfather and my 2 step siblings, my mom being sick and having to fucking work her ass off just to fucking keep the goddamn lights on. But like I said, there's a whole list of things that I can really attest my poor mental health to, but what I'm going to talk about today is something that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, and that's just death and the traumatic experience about death. The three of the biggest people in my life passed away unexpectedly. Like my grandma got stage 4 lung cancer like in a snap of a finger. Like she was home and then she was in the hospital fucking tubed up. And it's funny that you say this, or that you said that, you've only ever told Jaylene that specific thing. I believe I've only ever told Chloe this, maybe my mother. But when my grandma passed, it was, I believe, a couple of days after my birthday when she finally passed away, and the whole week of my birthday, I didn't go see her in the hospital. I didn't do anything because it's not that I was scared. It's not that I didn't want to see her tubed up. And like this eats at me all the fucking time. I genuinely was more concerned about my grandma coming home and like having like a birthday dinner and getting birthday gifts from her and shit. And then my birthday happened and she fucking died, man. Like my mom, I remember my mom, she didn't wake me up for school. I got up at like 9 o'clock. I looked at the alarm clock and I was like, what are we doing? And she sat me down and told me, and like, my grandma was my best friend growing up, and it didn't hit me at all. Like I didn't feel it. I didn't cry, and it didn't hit me until like I was at the funeral and like people were talking and shit. And even then though, like I still feel like it didn't hit me as hard as it should. Me and her were just so close, man, and it eats at me daily because as I get into the next two people that have passed away, I think about them all the time. I think about my uncle and my father every single day, and I can't like my brain won't process why like I don't feel the same way about my grandmother when I was way closer with her than both of them combined. But yeah, my grandma, rest in peace to my grandmother, but that shit fucks with me all the time, bro. And like I said, it just happened. Like it just happened. Like she got sick. Now, granted, like after it happened, like my mom told me that she was sick and she had been fighting off a couple of different illnesses and was in and out of like the mental hospital a couple of times because she was suicidal. And my grandma by no means was in good shape before she got lung cancer, but like there was no warning. Sometimes you get cancer that you catch it early. Like she was dead. She was dead within like a month of getting it. So it being so fast just fucks with me because then, like I said, going into the next two, like my uncle passed away. Now, to double back to my grandma real quick, I was getting ready to graduate 8th grade. I was getting ready to I didn't get my acceptance letter to Hutch Tech yet. So I had a lot of things that I was looking forward to, and my best friend passed away. So then going forward to high school, I'm coming up on my high school graduation. I'm coming up on senior prom. I'm in the process of looking for an apartment with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And I'm sitting at Pizza Hut with Michael Baez. And Tony's mom calls me, and I'm like, it's 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday or some shit. I should have been at school and I just skipped. And she called and was freaking out, saying your uncle died. You gotta go pick your sister up from school. Your mom's there dealing with it now. And I had no time to process it. I literally just looked at Michael. I was like, bro, my uncle just died. I gotta get the fuck out of here and go get my sister. And I had no time to sit and actually have a moment of hearing that. Hearing that my uncle, this is my mom's brother. I'm not close to my dad's side of my family at all. So my mom's side of the family has been my the rock foundation of my family. So this was my closest uncle that I had. And just to get the phone call that he died, like I said, I just didn't get any time to process it again until the funeral. I believe he had a eulogy that one of my cousins read, and my mom was devastated because that's her older brother, that's her best friend in the whole world. And yeah, if you don't know, I'm super open about it because I believe that addiction is just as much of an illness as anything else. My uncle and my father both overdosed and passed away. So it's not, again, it wasn't like he was sick. My uncle, he had a stroke
I was gonna say,
a long time ago. He was, handicapped.
Wasn't in the best shape.
He definitely wasn't in the best shape by any means. But he was, to my knowledge, he was at least healthy. He was just he walked with a cane. He was crippled, and It was hard for him to move. I didn't know, you know, never once did I think that he was just gonna like fucking die from drugs, man. And my uncle was the weed king. Like that's the reason why I fell in love with weed is because of him. So like I never once thought that, you know, he would have switched over to anything. And now, you know, you learn things and like it's not that he switched over, and, you know, not that like weed's not a gateway to anything. That's not what I'm getting at. But at the time it was easier to get, you know, like pain meds than weed for him. It was cheaper. You know, he was used to smoking weed from Arizona, so it was good weed. So any weed that he could afford was dirt, so it didn't do anything. But that's like, I just sit with it every day. Like the phone call plays in my head all the time. Me sitting there looking up at Michael and just being like, damn, bro, like I gotta get the fuck out of here. My uncle just died. Like I remember looking at his face. I remember exactly what like his facial expression, like it eats away at me. And to go into the third one, they all eat at me in different ways. You know, my grandmother, I resent that I'm not as sad about it. My uncle, I'm very sad that me and him weren't as close as we should have been. All he wanted to be was like my friend type shit, and like I was too busy, and you know, and I just, me and him never got as close as I really wanted to. And my father, this is where I know I'm probably gonna start crying, bro, because this is tough for me. You know more than anybody, my father was in and out of jail my whole life. Whether it was him robbing a gas station or him going back to jail for drugs, he was never around for extended periods of time. So when he came home the last time, I usually didn't like talk to him while he was in jail. Like I would get letters and read them sometimes, and I only maybe sent him a letter back 3 or 4 times in the entirety of him ever being in jail. But I made the effort. Ian took him out, you know, took me out to go see him, and so like it was different. Like he came home and we already had a new relationship. Like I was, you know, I was still in high school, but I knew like I was getting ready to start coaching, and you know, so there's a lot of things to look forward to. So when he got out, he had a family. He got married while he was in jail. He had, you know, my 2 brothers and my sister, like from his new marriage or whatever. And then my sister had 2 kids, so he inherited 2 grandkids, basically. So like for him, there was a lot to look forward to. So he came home, everything was good. He got, you know, he was working. He got real fat because Lori was fucking feeding him good. And I never thought for a second that he was doing drugs. And I found out that like the whole time he was home, like he was on drugs the whole time. Like there was moments now looking back at it where he's sitting there kind of, you know, zoning out on the couch, and I'm like, you know, in the moment, you're like, oh, he just worked a 10-hour day. But my dad was like me, he didn't need sleep. You know what I mean? So like...
Yeah, but Joe, like, I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say this. It did feel different.
Yeah.
I truly, being outside, you know, because you have the emotional attachment more than I do. So like, it might be hard for you to see something, but I promise you, from my aspect, being there for I think 2 or 3 times where he came in and out of jail, it 100% to me felt different.
Yeah, I figured like that was like it was the best situation that he'd been in. There was no halfway house when he got out of jail. There was no let's look for a job. Like, you know, Lori took care of everything until he got a job and started paying. You know, then he started taking care of a bunch of shit. So yes, like I never would have expected him to get back in that cycle, and I don't think I've ever told anybody this, ever. But like 2 weeks before he passed away, I thought to myself, like, damn, like I don't know what I would do if my dad went back to jail. Because we were that close again. Like, we were seeing each other all the time. We were talking to each other all the time, and I couldn't picture him not being there. So I'm at home one night, and everything's fine. It's 3 days after Christmas. The fucking best Christmas basically I've ever had with him. And my older sister Jessica calls me, and she's sobbing, and she's like, you gotta get to my house right now. And I was like, what's up? I was like, is it the kids? Is it mom? Like what's good? And she was like, it's your dad, you gotta get to my house. And in my head I was like, alright, he went back to jail. Never once did it cross my mind that he was dead. So I called Ian. I was like, yo, we gotta go to Dad's. I was like, you gotta come get me. And then I don't remember if I called my sister back or if she called me, but we get back on the phone and she was like, Joe, your dad just overdosed. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I just dropped my phone, I collapsed to the ground, and like, I didn't cry. I just collapsed, and I just got up. I got up, and I was like, alright, we're gonna go fucking deal with it. And my uncle overdosed back in like 2002 or 2003, and he survived. It's just, he had a very different life afterwards. I believe he overdosed. So, like, I didn't know if he was dead or not, bro. I swear to God, I didn't know if he was dead or not. Ian picked me up, and my dad's brother called me, and I hadn't spoken to him in forever. Me and him actually had just recently got into it on Facebook, maybe 2 or 3 months before that. So he called me and was like, I'm sorry, Joe, like, it sucks, da da da. But again, I didn't know if he was dead. So I asked him, I was like, I don't really know what happened. I'm like, they just told me he OD'd. Like, I know you can sometimes get saved and you're just like a vegetable after. I was like, is he dead? And he told me he was dead. And like, even then, like, I ain't cried. Like, I was just in the car with Ian. We were going like 120 in his big ass tow truck on the way out to Niagara Falls. And I didn't start crying until, and this is where, like, me, like, wanting to be a dad and, like, having kids and shit, I really didn't start crying until we were in the house. Like, my sister, my 2 brothers, Ian, Lori, her mom, everybody was there, and, like, they were just talking about how, like, my dad's never gonna see his first real grandkids. And that shit just, like, bro, because you know more than anybody how much I want to be a dad. That shit sucks, man. But it's just something that, like, I'm never gonna get over it. I'm never gonna get past it. It's never gonna get easier. Like, and it was the weirdest, worst funeral I've ever been to in my entire life. It was closed. Like, nobody was allowed to be there. It was a very short 5-minute prayer service. So, like, I don't feel like he got a proper sending off either. And that fucks with me a lot too. But it's not, I know that it's not good to, like, sit and dwell on things and shit like that, but, like, bro, PTSD is a real thing, and I can't tell you how long it took me to have a day where I wasn't, like, picking up my phone, freaking out, like, what the fuck is going on, like, are you okay? Like, my mom, my sister, my brothers, you, like, my girl at the time, like, just making sure, like, calling everybody just to make sure they're okay. Because I, like, based on, like, and this is where, like, it all ties together. Based on the 3 traumatic experiences and what it's done to my brain, it's programmed me to always think the worst is gonna happen, because in my life, usually the worst has always happened. Like I said, there's a laundry list of things, and I can attest to my mental health being dog shit too, but those 3 moments in my life were just so traumatically changing, and again, like I said, in 3 just different ass ways. But I don't want to say like it hasn't gotten better, because it definitely has. I've learned how to maybe, channel my emotions in a different way, where, you can speak on this. A couple years ago, I would get violent and angry and very, not physical in terms like hitting people, but physical like aggression wise. I try not to do that anymore. So I think it has gotten better in that aspect of like showcasing my emotions, but it's still, like I said, something that just, I don't think it'll ever go away. It'll never go away. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of people that understand what I'm feeling, whether you've lost a parent, a friend, a significant other, an uncle that you were close with, a kid. It's not, the pain don't go away. It doesn't go away. You can only learn how to deal with it and just try and live your day to day. I'm gonna quote Pete Davidson here, because I love Pete Davidson as a comedian, but I love him as a person more than anything, because he was doing an interview with Charlamagne the God, and he asked him, he was like, so let's talk about depression. He was like, are you depressed? And he looked straight up at him, and he was like, oh, every day. And Charlamagne was like, what? Like, what do you mean, every day? He was like, I would never be able to tell him. And he talks about how you can be depressed every single day of your life if you wake up and acknowledge that, yes, I am depressed, but how am I going to have a better day today? How am I going to get into my steps to get out of this depression in some way? Because obviously you wake up and some days are worse than others. So if you wake up and you have a better day, you only might have to take 2 steps to get yourself out of it. But if you're down here and you're having a really dog shit morning to start your day, you might have to go through your 8 steps of getting up, smoking, having a cup of coffee, brushing your teeth, calling your mom, taking the dog for a walk, like whatever it is that you do to start your day. If you wake up depressed and acknowledge that, yes, I'm sad as fuck, but what am I gonna do today to make sure that it's not as bad as my brain's telling me? That's really the only thing that you can do. Because depression's not something that's they're not gonna pop a fucking, pill in your mouth and it's just gonna go away. You have to be able to have the mental capacity to work on it and, and tell yourself that, yeah, I'm sad, but I'm gonna sit in it for a second, but what we gonna do to have a better day today? And it's super easy to sit here and say, because obviously, like I know you, you know me, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't have good days. As much as we sit here and try and tell these people that it's not about, like, it's a bad moment, not a bad day. We have bad days all the time, bro. It's not good. And we have to start practicing what we preach to these people. It's super easy, like I said, it's super easy to sit here and say it, but we have to start doing it. And this goes back to a couple episodes ago when you said that, we're going to start taking accountability in each other of why are we a 3 out of 10. We had this conversation. Now it's time to really try here, because we're too young to be miserable as fuck every day. That's just how it is. And I don't know about you, but I've been miserable for the last 12 years of my life.
Well, I don't know. I want to tell a couple little stories. So, you know how you said you feel like shit because you don't know why you don't care as much about your grandma?
Yeah.
So, in that, and I feel like a big reason why I feel so numb to a lot of this stuff, and I feel like this would go for you as well, is because I feel like we've had to grow up too fast in our lives. We weren't able to really enjoy childhood and teenage years the way I believe they're supposed to be handled. And that's why, and again, I'm just going to speak freely. This is why I do not get along with my mother at all. I mean, at all.
Yeah.
Because my little sister, for those of you who don't know, I have 3 siblings. So my brother's a year and a half younger than me. My sister Vita is 4 years younger than me. And then my mom and dad decided to have a kid like 10 years later than all of us. So my sister Elena, she's 10 years old. You know, we're all like 20 plus.
Yeah.
Vita's 19, but like, you know. So Elena has had to go through not having a father, her mother being shot. Because as much, and I'll tell you this, I love my mother, but I do not like my mother. And my mother knows this. We don't get along. We rarely speak. I've been trying to grow as a person, because especially with the Lord, like, honor thy mother and father. Now, I don't speak to my father. I haven't seen him or spoke to him, so that's out the window.
Yeah.
But when I see my mother, I always kiss her now. I always hug her and kiss her. Hey, mother, how you doing? Love you. And I always tell her I love her, and I always put on a face because I want to like my mother.
Right.
Nobody wants to sit here, I don't care what you say, and say they enjoy not liking their mother or father. Because I hate it. I wish I could have been a regular kid and just got along with my fucking mother. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't get along with her. You know I don't get along with her. You've seen me plenty. I do not get along with that woman.
No more than anybody. Yeah.
So, and I test a lot of, a majority of the things that my sister has had to go through at such a young age on her. And I've tried my best at times. I have obviously sometimes let my foot off the gas and taken responsibility because I'm only human. But I've tried to make Elena enjoy life, and I have to know all the dark things that go on. But my mother lets her see all of it. My mother lets Elena know everything and see everything at 9, 10 years old. She's been doing this her whole life, so. And I know how that affected me having to grow up too young.
Right.
And I didn't have to grow up until I was like 12, 13, 14. This girl has been growing up since she was 7 years old, 6 years old. So I can only imagine, and I fear and I pray to the Lord that Elena can come out the other side of this, because the things that she's had to go through and witness, I could bitch, moan, and complain about my life all day long, but it does not compare to what Elena's had to go through.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. She's had us siblings, but my brother and sister resented her young, which they love her to death. Like, but
no,
when
you're
you're kids,
bro, like,
when you're kids and you can't go out because you have to take turns babysitting.
Yes.
And me and my parents didn't tell me what to do from the day I was 14 until that was it. When I turned 14, they didn't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So there was no telling me to watch Elena. It wasn't gonna happen. So Vita and Dominic had to split the days once in a blue moon. I'm not gonna
I'll
say.
I'll acknowledge it. It's not. They didn't
But-
tell you to,
But those two had to split watching Elena throughout most of the years of her being like, a little kid. So they resented, like, I can't hang out with my friends, so I have to watch this kid. No one expected having this kid. They love her to death, and that's the truth. Was whether I get along with my siblings or not, Vita, Dominic, they love Elena. And my brother, I admire him because he makes sure to make time for her all the time. Like, my brother's great. I'm so proud of him. And Vita too. Vita takes care of her, but that goes back to, I feel like I've had to grow up early and to go to the numbing. And like you said about your grandma and why you don't feel as bad. So I don't think I've told the story. I think I might have mentioned it, but I don't think I told the story. So we all know we just got out of COVID. Like, it's still around, but it's not what it was. We all know what it was.
Yeah.
Isolation, not being able to see your family and friends, not being able to go out without a mask, or just going into stores, going on trips, all of these things. Luckily, God willing, we're coming out of that. So during this time, my aunt, so background, my godfather, Uncle Ray, his wife, my Aunt Pam, and then they have one daughter, my cousin Angelina. My uncle, throughout 90% of my cousin's life, he's been out of town. That's his job, that's his career. He's a salesman. He goes out of town and goes and sells street sweepers. So he wasn't around as much, so my cousin Angelina was basically raised by my Aunt Pam. Now, I've had this tough conversation with my Uncle Ray because we're that close. So we've had this conversation, so this isn't news to him if he ever sees this. But I do feel like that's negatively affected my cousin, and we've had that conversation. My cousin's great, and she's very strong. But there was one night, and I was having dinner at my grandmother's house. My grandmother was one of the people that I refused not to see during COVID, even though I didn't get to see some of my aunts and uncles and stuff like that. I'm not gonna not see my grandparents. They raised me. I care more about my grandparents than I care about any other person in the world. So me and Jaylene were having dinner at my grandmother's house. We were having sauce, having a good time. And my grandmother tells me, your aunt and uncle are gonna stop by. I was like, oh fuck, let's go. I haven't seen them. So I'm excited. And and if anybody knows me, I'm usually the life of the party. I'm, hey, how you doing? Kiss, love, that's just my nature. I grew up with my grandmother, she's Italian. Her parents are from Italy, that's just the way the Italians love. So they walk in the door, I say, hey, da da da. Happy you came, sit down, let's eat, whatever. And I'll never forget this to the day that I die. My Uncle Joe, if anybody knows my Uncle Joe, he's really quiet. He's soft-spoken, lover, cares, loves, works hard, but he's very quiet. He keeps to himself. He's not as outlandish, outgoing, and crazy as me. But when I said, I was talking to him right when he walks in the door, I said, it's so good to see you, blah, 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 blah. He looked at me with this look I've never seen before, and he said, it's not good. And I was like, now I'm kind of shook, because I've never seen this from Uncle Joe. I'm like, hold on now. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm still not thinking nothing of it. But then they were like, let's go sit down. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we were sitting down anyway, we were having dinner. So I'm like, yeah, I'd love to go finish my pasta. I'm starving. So we sit down at the table. I'm sitting next to Jaylene, Nani, Poppy, Amy, and Uncle Joe at the end. And
no, wait.
Yeah.
This is a different aunt and uncle. So you talked about your aunt and uncle.
Oh,
Ray
yes.
And Pam.
My Aunt Mimi and my Uncle Joe.
This is a different set of aunt and uncle.
So my Aunt Mimi and my Uncle Joe.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify in case anybody was confused.
They're at the house, at my grandmother's house. And as blatantly as he could say it, Uncle Joe said, or maybe my Aunt Mimi, one of them said, your aunt passed. And I was like, what do you mean passed? Thinking I don't know,
Passed by?
Yeah, I'm saying, so
No,
I was
no,
just like,
no.
what are you talking about? And then the face came back, and he was like, no, she passed away. And I was sitting there at first I was kind of like, well, you have to give me some more. I wasn't even sad at that point, because I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I'm thinking was there a car accident? Was there, what I'm saying? I'm trying to connect the dots.
Idea, yeah.
So then they tell me, and again, they're giving me these blunt statements. So they're like, well, she killed herself. And I was just like, what the fuck do you mean? Because I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm to me, that's impossible.
Yeah.
So then they tell me, yeah, your uncle wanted to tell you himself, but he said that it must be a sign that we were coming here, that you were here. Because they were coming to tell my grandparents. He was like, so it's a sign that you're supposed to tell them, so just tell them. So they told me, and once it processed and they told me what happened, I'm a fucking wreck. I'm absolutely a wreck. And I've never, to this day, since the funeral, visited her tombstone. And it hurts me that I do that. I feel like shit for it, but I don't know if it's because I've become so numb to just pain at this point and just all of these things, that it's I don't think about it every day, and I'm living in her house. And I just I've moved on. And not moved on in terms of when I think about her, when I speak about her, I speak highly of her, because the best gift I've ever gotten to this day, and I've gotten a lot of great gifts. Honestly, I've gotten a lot of great gifts. It was during COVID. My Aunt Pam set up the drive-by. She had the whole block filled with cars. Friends, family, everybody bringing me gifts, saying happy birthday.
Do you want to know what sucks about that?
What?
Is the day like the day before, I think Alex was the one that texted me about it. The day before he texted me was the day that my boss asked me to come back to work from COVID. And it was like, your birthday, I think, was on that Monday.
I think it was on a Monday.
And like, she was like, we want you to come back Monday morning. And I was like, well, damn, it's my best friend's birthday. Is there any way I can come back Tuesday? And she was like, well, you could not come back. And I was like, well, I'll be there on Monday.
Well, I'll be there on Monday.
But yeah, I didn't go to that, but I've
Yeah.
heard, I've heard that before. You've told me that before.
Yeah.
That's the best gift that you've gotten.
And why I just think it's odd, because it's not like a distant relative that passes, is my aunt. She went to my first ever championship game. When I won the championship as a coach, she was there.
Yeah.
Without my uncle. You know what I'm saying? She married into the family. She treated me like her only son. She only had one daughter. She treated me like a son. The last time, I think prior to her passing, that I drank, it was odd because I was becoming a young adult now, and I was old enough to drink. So me, her, and Uncle Ray were in the living room drinking, and when I drink too much, I get emotional.
Yeah. I think we all do.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
So I'm in the room and I'm crying to my aunt and I'm just telling her all this stuff. And my brother was in the army. I said, I miss my brother. I'm telling her all this stuff. I'm like, my parents and my brother, like all of these things are going on in my head. And I'm literally just crying, sobbing to her. And she's, so like, how much she was so good to me over the years. That's why it bothers me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me that I don't have more of a stronger emotion about her passing and the way that she did. When she did so much for me. She treated me like her own child, but now I'm so fucking broken, damaged, not broken. I'm so damaged in her that those emotions, those feelings are so suppressed and numbed down. And like when my grandfather passed away, the last time I spoke with him on the phone, I was in this room. You remember? Because we were talking about the Airbnb on the phone, he was putting his bets in. We were never closer in my whole life until he passed away. Like, it's like the irony of it. We were like, instead, like we talked every day at that point. I just went and visited him.
Because he lived in Florida, it was kind of hard for you to be close with him because he was so far.
Yeah, but even, like we didn't even talk on the phone at all for years.
Yeah. Well, now that you were an adult and you...
Exactly. Went there, had so many good conversations.
Yeah.
And, but again, I love my grandfather. I wear his cross now every day because it reminds me of him, but it doesn't hurt me like I know it's supposed to hurt. When someone that close to you passes away, you're supposed to feel that. You're supposed to struggle with that. Why am I so numb to all these feelings? Why is it that I'm with a girl and I think she's great and the greatest thing ever, but I don't know if I have that extra, that feeling. Where's that passion? Where's that emotion? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to
dial in on.
I don't understand it, and I'm hoping one day, something will change. Like there'll be somebody that comes along, and it's like, oh, this is the one. This is what that felt like. This is supposed to feel like. And I'll have some kids, and I'll have a family, and all of these things will happen. But I don't know. It's a lot of doubt creeps in because it's like, not to say I'm perfect, because I'm not, but I feel like I'm so good to people. Like I try to be as good as I can to everybody. Like whether you're a friend, a girl, family. I genuinely try to be as good to people as I can. So for all of these things to happen and me to feel like this numbness, it's just like, at what point is something, what is going to change that? What could change what has already happened in this damage to you know what I'm saying? It's like a miracle has to happen.
This is why there's counselors. This is why there's therapists and psychiatrists. Because I don't have the answers. I don't know. Because I feel the same way. You know what I mean? I'm numb to all the fucking shit too. So it's not. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. So it's just your brain. It's how your brain processes things. It's how you go through things, and that's what I've chalked it up to. It's just that my brain's processed so much trauma that certain things just I can't have emotions for. Like so much foul shit has happened that I don't know why.
It's like you're used to it. And I was having this conversation.
Yeah, it's almost like you're used to it.
And not to
just looking at the timer.
Not to dial to this part, but like all the shootings that have been happening, it's no longer shock factor.
Yeah.
You're becoming numb to the tragedy.
Normal.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Why is it that we're becoming numb to the tragedy? Yo, bro, you heard about that shooting and such? Damn, that shit was crazy. The first time there was a school shooting, the whole country was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
The whole country was on fire. Everything stopped. Everyone was taking notice. It was like, oh my God. Now it's a shooting every other day, and people are like, damn, that shit tough.
Crazy.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
What?
You see the score of the game last night.
Yeah, you know, it's just a part of conversation. Yeah. And that's how I'm feeling about tragedies. Damn, you know, Nani passed away. Damn, that's crazy. Oh, such and such passed. Oh, damn. Because I'm so fucking hurt and I'm so damaged to the point where it's like, what the fuck you think you're gonna throw at me that's gonna hurt me more than I'm already gonna hurt? What do you got for me? Bring it, because I've already been through this shit. Yeah. I'm 24 and I feel like I've been through a whole lifetime's of shit already. So bring the fuck on, because I'm ready. Because it ain't nothing you could do. It's done. I'm shot.
You're not shot, bro. That's what we call experience. It's life lessons. It's you go through shit and you learn from it. And you know, I don't got the answers, bro. I don't.
But you feel me though.
I know exactly how you're feeling, but I just feel a different way about it. I don't think that I'm damaged or anything. I just think that that's just, you know, just how.
But I know. I'm not saying you have to agree, but you feel.
Yeah,
like
no, I know
the headspace I'm coming from.
Absolutely,
you feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, and that was a perfect example. Because like certain things will happen and you'll get numb to it. Like you're with a girl, she cheats on you first time. What the fuck? Second time, damn. Third time, regular,
right.
Regular. Still bad shit. Still the same bad shit from the first time, but you're so used to it now. It's like, fuck it.
Whatever.
Somebody gets shot. Damn. Second time, third time, regular. That's not how things are supposed to be. That's what I believe. I do not believe that you're supposed to, this bad shit happens and it keeps happening, so now it's like, fuck it, whatever. I'm used to it. No. And the show don't even know this. The show don't know this because we brushed by it, but I might as well put it out there because I'm not ashamed no more. But when we were having the week off and all this other shit, my ex-girlfriend broke up with me and I was off the fucking ledge. That's just the truth. Oh, am I a simp? Am I a baby? I don't give a fuck. Call what you want. Joey was the only person that I told at first because I couldn't believe it. We were great, things were good, and then it was the shock factor. It was the shock factor. I was so devastated because I didn't see it coming that I couldn't eat for 3 days. All right, I've never gone that long without eating, and we're talking about people in my life that are very close to me passed away. But even then, I never went 3 days without eating. First time I ended up eating was the day we were supposed to go to Erie, I think, or maybe it was the day before when I went to Nani's and I told her what happened. Mm-hmm. She forced me to eat, so I ate a little bit of her house. I don't know, I was like, you know, like picking and nosh and stuff.
Yeah, no.
A couple of things
like that. I even remember, in Erie, you were very finicky of what you wanted to eat. Like you
but by the end of the trip, I ate at the restaurant.
Yeah.
But so. And at that point, I was like, yo, I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I thought this was going to be the girl I was going to marry. But again, it's the thought. That's what I'm saying is it was the thought. I thought I was going to marry this girl. I thought this girl was the one. It's all thinking. Mm-hmm. But emotionally, it's like my emotions are so tied to my thoughts. I want to genuinely feel it. I want to feel it. And it's so difficult, bro. It's so difficult to come on this show. And we always say, it's unfiltered. We're being honest.
Yeah.
We're being honest. We're not lying.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff we're telling you now, yeah, you don't know because we haven't told you, but we were honest on the show. Like, Joey will blast me on the show, like, bro, you're fucked up. Like, let's talk about it. And I'll not want to talk about it. And that's my own problem. And we can get through it. But I can truly say, through that dark time when this shit happened, if it wouldn't have been for you dropping everything for me and just giving me those 3-4 days of just, fuck it, I got you, I don't know, I really truly don't know what would have happened. and I'm not gonna sit here and say shit like that because I don't think I'd ever pull the trigger on something like that because I know I can't leave the people here. That's just, I'm too strong. Like in that sense of, you know me, I gotta take care of my people.
Yeah.
And that will always hold me here. But that was the closest I ever felt like, bro, like this is it, bro. I'm not even fucking, why the fuck am I wasting my time?
You're my best friend. You
know what I'm
you
saying?
called me saying I'm about to drive my car off a cliff. Like, of course I'm dropping everything.
But you know what I'm saying though? Like,
yeah.
So, and, you know, we could talk about a couple more things on the show, but since we are, like, you know, we're at an hour and a half, we're taking a break after this episode. This is the season finale. You know, I want everyone to, especially if you live in Buffalo, to enjoy the summer because I don't believe in a lot of weird shit when it comes to like doctors and what they say, but I truly believe like summer, sun, it does brighten your mood and it is good to enjoy it. So go out, like enjoy the summer.
Oh, I mean,
try to make
like
memories.
93 degrees tomorrow. I'm going to the beach after work all day. Yeah.
So enjoy life and just be good people. That's my big thing is if you're a good person, good things will happen to you. I truly believe that.
It might take some time.
This shit ain't like, you know, you put a quarter in a machine, you get a prize out.
Yeah.
Keep feeding that box, keep feeding that karma, keep feeding, because one day it will come.
It will pay off.
But you have to know that. And if you can't tell yourself that, then, you know, only you can believe what you want to believe. You know, I can tell you all day, we can tell you, but I'm telling you right now, if you like this show, if you trust us, if you believe what we're saying is authentic and from the heart like it is, feed the karma box, just keep being a good person because good things will happen in life. And that's
just gospel.
It's gospel, but
it's gospel.
I talk about all the hate, and we won't get into it because that's a whole different conversation, but all the hate in the world, people can put on fronts, people can, you know, pretend like it's not there and all this shit. The change genuinely has to come from the heart. And we talked about this with, I think, Ty. It has to come from within. You have to just change as a person. And love. That's my biggest thing. Love. Love don't see size, color, shape. Just love. Just love in general. Just love, love, love.
And want to be loved. Like,
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a lot of people out there that are reluctant to like being loved because they don't know how to process it or it's a new feeling for them. Like, just enjoy that your friends want to love you. Enjoy that your family or even a stranger is just being nice and kind. Like, just I've struggled with this a lot in my life, like not really giving a fuck about strangers and like if they say something nice or if they do something nice, like I used to not give a fuck at all. But acknowledging that somebody's going out of their way to try to make you happy, or acknowledging that a random person's gonna do, like I had some lady pay for my Mighty Taco one time and I fucking like almost cried. Like it was it's like an $8 Mighty Taco, but it was just like, wow, like she paid for it because I was driving Ian's big ass truck and it's got the bright ass headlights and I turned off the lights because I saw her in her rear view window like blocking out the light. So, but like something that small, like just meant some crazy shit to me because I was like, damn, like she didn't have to do that, but I acknowledged it because like I wanted to be loved. You know what I mean? Like, so don't, if you have somebody in your life that is making an effort and trying to be there for you, like just let them be there for you. Let them, whether, like I said, whether it's a friend, a family member, significant other, my nephews are like one of the biggest things in my life, and they changed my life. And a lot of the times, like I attest, like how I, like act with kids and like, want to be a dad, like to them. But that's because like I wanted that, like I wanted that. So love your peoples. If your peoples are loving you, accept the love, appreciate that they're going out of their way. Before I let you close it off, because you're going to have to close it off because you don't know how to turn off the camera. I want to give you a big shout out because you said something that I've felt for a long time that I've never really told you. Not that I look at you as a father, but I didn't have a father figure growing up, and I've always noticed and been aware that you've always had my well-being an interest, and you've always tried to look out for me as much as you can. As much as you can, as much as you did, as much as you will do. And I appreciate the fuck out of that because there's not enough good people in the world, bro. And you're my brother to the day we die because of that. And I want to give another big shout out, just appreciation to my older brother Russell, because that's the other father figure that I have in my life. When my pops passed, the relationship with me and my older brother completely did a 180, and he stepped in ways that I couldn't even imagine possible. And then he had my 2 nephews and just changed my life. So I'm getting choked up. I want, Russ, you're a big inspiration in my life. Thank you, brother. But I love you, man. I think this was a really good episode, and I want to thank everybody that stayed watching. I've been keeping an eye out on the live just to look at comments, but I've noticed that there's been a solid 10 basically this whole time. And I don't know how often that happens, but I want to appreciate everybody that tuned in, everybody that watched from start to finish, whatever, if you stopped in for 30 seconds. I want to thank you so much. We come out here every Tuesday to give you guys better sports content, but today was not about sports. We push mental health here more than any other show, at least in this area. I believe we push mental health more than any other sports show that I've ever listened to or ever watched. I genuinely believe that's what's going to set us aside in the podcast game. So for us to be able to get on here and actually have this episode finally, and you guys be as interested, as active in the comment section as you were today, I can't thank you guys enough. We do this for you, I swear to God. As much as I want to get on stage with Kendrick Perkins to violate him, it is just to give you guys better sports content. So thank you. I love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
Do you have anything else to say?
I have plenty to say, but
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't
is there
think I
anything
have
that you
anything.
want to say?
It is the end of the season, but so I guess I don't know. I just I want to say that I am proud of you, Joe. I'm proud of the growth that you've made, and I think more so than ever, I think that I'm just proud that internally, no matter what for like things you do on the outside, I know as a person how good you are. You know what I'm saying? How genuine you are, how much you care about people, and how like you get caught in this. You bring it up to me all the time that you can't always expect yourself out of others, and you know how much I do. I that frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
So you always remind me of that. But because you are a good ass dude, and I think that's what's always, over the years through the bumps in the road has always kept me like, put that bullshit aside because Joey is a good ass dude. He's worth fighting for. He's always been a brother to me, and having somebody to rely on, like I rely on you, like you rely on me. Having that is such a peace of mind that I know that, at the end of the day, I can always call you. You're the first call. If something's going on and I'm really, really, because, I, like you said, want to be loved, I shut people out. That's my problem. When I'm going through it, I shut it out. But if I do show it to anybody, I know I call you.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate that you've stuck by me through a lot in life because we've been through it. And, I know you say it's for the fans. I do the show because I really do enjoy it.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy it, and I appreciate the fans, but I enjoy it, and I think that talking about the mental health is important, even if it's nobody watching. It's just a guest we have because they're usually our friends, and I want to push that conversation. And you know, when we're by ourselves, we don't really talk about that. Like when we're hanging out, we're chilling, we're talking about bullshit, we're talking about girls or sports. You know what I'm saying? So when we get our friends on the show, it's an opportunity to promote them if they're involved in something, but it's also an opportunity to know that, hey, we're gonna talk about this. This is what we do on our show. This is why you're coming. Like, we're gonna talk about it. So
if you're not comfortable talking about that, then
you know what I'm saying?
this is
You're
what
gonna
we
hear
talk
what we
about.
gotta say.
This
Like,
is what we talk about.
Exactly.
This is what's gonna happen.
So I think that that's good to just say that I do love this show, and I'm glad we're doing it, regardless if it blows up. Like, I truly have faith. I believe it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
I want to, like, I do truly
It's
enjoy
not the
it.
goal. I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, like
For me at least.
And how many new friends have we made during the process?
Oh my
I feel
God.
like I've made a lot of new friends.
Bro, I can't begin to appreciate the relationship that I have with Busy, Bank and Dom now. After having them on individually, having them on together, like that alone for me is enough in terms of relationships and meeting new people. So anybody else that we've met, like in C's too, like bro, like you know what I mean, like just very good relationships so far. So no, I agree. It's been awesome, man.
Sorry if we're all over the place today, but we truly are coming from the heart, and I wouldn't want to do the show with anybody else.
No.
Regardless of your crazy ass takes sometime.
Listen, man, Golden State going to the finals back in August was a real crazy take.
I don't know if it was crazy, but
Listen, I don't want to say I was the only one that was saying it, but I didn't hear nobody else saying it.
so pull up to the beach tomorrow. We're having a mental health day. I don't know if
Facts.
I'm probably gonna be at the beach
I'm
tomorrow.
going to be at the beach just after 3 o'clock.
My game got canceled. I have
I'm
a
not-
free day.
I'm not announcing what beach because I don't know what beach yet, but
Me either. Probably one with alcohol on the beach, to be honest.
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
But
I'm gonna need a ride home.
if anybody's in the Uber business,
If anybody wants to make a couple bucks driving me out there, hanging out at the beach, I get the blunts going, we get some bottles, drive me home though. You don't get drunk, I get drunk. I need a ride home.
if anybody wants to do none of that bad stuff and read a book with me, that's what I'll be. Love you, brother.
The only book I'm reading is a fucking Playboy, I can promise you that.
Okay.
Oh man, this has been another episode. I'm gonna just sit down and do it. First off, there's no core water here today.
Jesus.
The only reason why there's no... Oh, do you have core water? Oh, no, you don't. Wait,
No.
hang on.
But what are you gonna do? Get a happy bottle?
I have 1.5 million. They're in my bedroom. I took them something.
Paul said he's coming to the beach with us.
Fuck yeah, let's go, Paul. Whether you hooping or humping, this water hydrates to the core. I gotta push it. I gotta push it.
Also, today's my boss's birthday, so happy birthday, Candy.
Happy birthday, Candy.
Candy,
I
I
met
love
you
you.
once. You were dope at the bar.
Candy, love you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Core, the water that hydrates.
Humping, hooping.
Humping,
all that good
hooping,
stuff.
all that good shit. This has been another episode of your favorite podcast.
We'll catch y'all in August.
Not fucking August.
Maybe late July. Also, yeah, have everybody. We're not going to see them for the 4th, so have a good 4th of July. Spend time with your family. Again, that's an opportunity to love. Put the pain aside. Everyone's got family drama. Just drop it. Just be loving. Be that different. Be that change. God bless.
We're not gonna be here, so I want to give a shout out to my deceased grandmother. Her birthday is on the 25th of this month. My little sister's birthday is the 26th of this month. Shout out Geej, happy early birthday.
Shout out G.
I always forget which nephew's birthday is when, so I'm not gonna say it. Both of my nephews have birthdays. One is late June, one is early July. We will probably be gone for both of them. Happy early birthday to Roman and RJ.
Shout out the kids.
It's been another episode. We'll catch you on the next one.